Yes, guys, you heard it here first. There is a really obvious trade that we can take in the coming hours, and we can position ourselves for that trade right now. That's why it's really important that you watch the video until the end, and that you also make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, you like this video, and also activate the bell to never miss out on these important updates. And now let's directly start with today's content. So that is not the obvious trade that we are going to take, but this one is leading potentially into it and is one of the signs that we are tilting more to one side than to the other. Remember what I told you guys yesterday? I said once we are getting out of the sweet spot where we should break to the upside, which is more or less here, I can extend this one here a little bit further. So kind of like here. If we are not breaking out in that kind of range, then it is more likely that we are breaking to the downside out of the ascending triangle than to the upside, what it normally should be doing. I'm not saying it's not impossible that it still breaks to the upside. I'm just saying the chances are increasing the closer we get to the apex that we are not breaking to the upside. And that's why we have to be aware of that the chances are increasing that we are breaking to the downside instead of to the upside. So because here on that 4-hourly chart, we have only 3 more candles left before we basically are in the apex and start to trend out of it. So that's why Bitcoin has to make a decision here really quick in which direction it wants to go. And I believe that decision will be happening today. If we are breaking to the upside, then the target still stands at $32,860 approximately. But if we break to the downside, then the target would be, we have of course to put it to the breakdown point, $28,600 would be the target to the downside. So how would I trade this to the downside if it would break to the downside? I would wait for a break here. Just let me get rid of the other 4 lines quick. So I would get in here. There's a support level at $30,290 approximately. You can clearly see it because here we got a bounce. Here in that section we bounced. Here we had a failed breakdown. Here we bounced, fake out. Here we bounced. So that is a level that we have to watch. Once we're breaking under that, that will be my entry if we break to the downside. And to the upside, it would be 31,000. Nothing has really changed there. Yeah, these are the 2 entries that we are potentially taking here for that trade. But there is a way more obvious trade that we can take in the coming hours once we're getting there. And that is here, that range in that Bitcoin is trading for so long already. So we are in that range since June 21st. So it's almost 2 weeks that we are trading in that range. And it looks like that Bitcoin over and over fails to break here a resistance within that range. And that is here at $30,800. Even if we break above that, then Bitcoin also failed always to break higher. Here, 31,477 was the highest that we broke here. And afterwards we broke up, but not as high as we did there. So potentially, even if we break it to the upside, most likely we are not coming as high as that high here. And for sure not at as high as that high over there. So there will be most likely also a lower high, which will indicate that we have not a strong uptrend and that we are potentially reversing to the downside. So I would open a short up here. I would take my chances and open a short here and trade this then all the way back down to the bottom of the range to around $30,000, $29,900. So, or we are getting rejected here at 30,800, then also slightly under that level. I would open a stop loss slightly above that. I would open a trade slightly above that would be my stop loss, and slightly under it when we get rejected would be my entry to the downside. So if you just look at this, take here a short, let's say from here, my stop loss is like at $30,860. So look at this. This is a 2.7% move to the downside on 20x leverage, that's over 50%. So that is definitely worth taking, especially with the risk involved. That's only 0.33%. So we have 50%, over 50% against 6.6%. So the risk is heavily outweighing the reward. Sorry, the other way around. The reward is heavily outweighing the risk. So here's a risk to reward ratio of 8.27 to 1. So that is definitely worth taking if that trade is going to happen. So even if I pull it higher and you would have here your stop loss slightly above that, would be still then almost 2.7 to 1. That is still not bad. It's not really good, but it's still okay. So that would be still a trade that I would consider taking here. So here I think potentially we're going to see one more leg to the downside where we can enter longs, and then we go finally to the upside and break here higher. But I don't believe that if we come up here now that we are doing something like this and continue upwards. I just don't see it happening. There's nothing, no catalyzer right now in the market that would do something like this unless we get a spot ETF like tomorrow approved. But I don't believe that because time is running out against Bitcoin to basically do that one move. It has to happen in the next 24 hours. If it's not happening, we are going down and we can open shorts in my opinion. And guys, don't forget, if you want to trade with me together, do it on BYBIT. You still get $30,000 absolutely for free if you sign up with my specific link here. And also on ASCENDEX, you still get $2,000 absolutely for free, also only with that specific link. And you can earn Bitcoin by completing just some simple tasks on ASCENDEX. $32,000 absolutely for free. In a market like that, you want to have some dry powder. You want to have some money on the side that you can use and actually get for free by just signing up on these platforms. So I would definitely take advantage of that. So now when you move on to the other chart, so here on that 30 minutes chart, you see it quite clearly that the blue line is right now a resistance. Bitcoin tries always to break above it, and it looks like that it always fails to break above that. For now, how the indicators are looking, I would guess that we actually break above that and move here all the way up to like 31. But like I said, on the other chart, I think there, maximum there, we're going to get rejected from that heavy resistance area here on the 30 minutes. Maybe we go even into it, but I think we get rejected within that box and see then, in the worst case, something like this here again. So that's why I'm saying, even if we get up there, I would open shorts here. I would not bet on that we are ripping through this to 32,000, 35,000. I just don't see it happening with everything that's going on that chart. Of course, lower time frames, they look kind of bullish, but the higher time frames, they're not looking good at all. I'm going to show you that in a second. So here again, on the 3 days chart, we are still moving sideways within that resistance area. And the longer that goes on, the more likely it is that we are also breaking here to the downside. The RSI is going sideways up, which is not bad. I want to mention it's not bad. It's kind of neutral how it's moving. But if Bitcoin only tips a little bit over to the downside, then the RSI also tips over on the 3 day chart and we start moving to the downside. Here on the daily chart, here you see why I'm so cautious with opening along here. On the daily chart, you see here all these wicks at the $30,800 level that I'm mentioning here over and over again. All these wicks here around that level. That's why I believe it would be highly dangerous to open any long positions right now here and try to trade this unless we are breaking really above $30,800 and settle there, forming their support, having a nice consolidation phase. Then yes, then I would most likely open a long position, but not with all these wicks along that level, which are making it more and more unlikely that we are breaking in the imminent short term through that level. So here, the 0.272 on the Fibonacci retracements level, $29,185, is definitely a target of mine that I have in mind, and that comes from these prior pivot points here from the weekly. That will be my initial big take profit point here for a short once I see this turning around. And then here also on the 4-hourly chart, I just wanted to show you that with a close-up instead of the 1-hourly chart that you see here. Even if I try to count this in an Elliott wave count, you basically cannot count that. It's so fucked up, you just cannot count it. So you can count here 1, potentially 2, potentially 3, but this cannot be a 4. So I'm going to explain you why that cannot be a 4. A 4 would not have such a long consolidation phase. Yes, a 4 has a symmetrical triangle, but also look here how long that is. So this is way too long. So that would put here 4 or something. So 4 has to be here close to the apex. That is not for me looking like a nice Elliott wave count, to be honest. Because the 4 is a correction and not just a consolidation within the ascending triangle. So, and this correction, that is not really a correction after move to the 3, which is the biggest impulse move. So there's definitely a little bit more of correction missing than what we have seen. So potentially something down here like this, to that point here, at least to like 30,000, sub 30,000 slightly. So then I would say, yes, that looks nice. That looks appropriate for an Elliott wave count. But also the longer this goes on, the less likely it is that this is a proper count for an Elliott wave, because we have here this abomination of that too long ongoing sideways move. Because look here at the 2 down here. This is way shorter. A 4 should not be that extended. That was the word that I was looking for, extended. So it cannot be that far extended for a 4, and that's why it cannot be one. Yes, so you see Bitcoin is in a position where we have to make a decision now in which direction we are going. I tend today a little bit more to the bearish side than to the bullish side, just because of what I'm seeing on the higher time frames. So like I said, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin can snap to 31,000 today, but I believe it's going to be rejected from there, and I'm going to take a short from that level. Guys, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure that you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you then again tomorrow.